So, this was 2021. This mic's not even connected to anything, but I just thought it would be like nicer. Like this. To be honest, I really didn't think I'd be making a video this 2021. But it's always nice to look back at moments in your life, seeing your growth in hindsight, and realizing that you have, once again, against all odds, survived another year. But I wondered if I wanted to keep 2021 Steph in this sort of time capsule. Because to be honest, like this last week of 2021 was fucking depressing. In the wise words of Taylor Swift, I was happy, free, confused, and lonely at the same time. It was miserable and magical. Oh yeah. 2020 was about clarity, and 2021 is about suffering. So where do I even begin? I started 2021 full of hope, which is how most people start their year, but this is a big deal coming from a reformed pessimist, okay? For the first time in a long time, I was just really content in where I was, who I was, and what I was doing. So this is a diary entry from March 19, 2021. I've never been a patient person, being so heartbroken over things that took years of growing, only never to bloom. But I have to stop overthinking and start overdoing instead. 23-year-old me would have never thought I'd be where I am now. Hold on to that dream, Steph. Hold on to the hope. Because you're in control of your own destiny now. That was a bit dramatic. Diary entry from April 7. All my life, people have told me about my limits. Anyone close enough to have a say that would stay in my heart whether I liked it or not. I thought knowing one's limits was the key to happiness. You'll never get hurt not trying. But the grass looks so green on the other side. And here I am now with people who believe me to be something larger than myself. And I'm so much happier now. I don't want to doubt myself now. So in the middle of the year, I was writing my Odyssey plan, and the second question was, what would my life look like 5 years from now if I took a different path? And that was when I realized I cannot imagine not designing. I even wrote here, I also wrote it on my diary, I cannot imagine not designing. I think I finally cracked the code. Parenthesis, Lord, please don't strike me for my hubris. 2021 was when I was happiest in designing, but it was also when I suffered the most as a designer. I overlooked some things and I struggled to forgive myself for it. But this is all a part of growing pains. I just wasn't used to being the end of the line. Before, when problems arise, there was always someone to defer to. But now it's just me. But I'll never go back to my old life. I like being my own boss, forging my own path. I think this is where I'm meant to be. Because this is what I'm willing to suffer for. This is what I want my life path to be. A designer. In anything we do, there will always be suffering. That's what passion means. So it's really all a matter of what we want to suffer for. Eustress, not distress. So sometime in June, I finished the whole series of Community and I loved it so much. So much. And that's when I realized that being a freelancer, technically, meant that I had no collateral relationships, with most of my work being done from home. And so I ventured to find like-minded people. And I found them in Reddit. The first group I found is my current accountability group. There is this certain synergy when you talk about your goals and passions with people from different backgrounds and careers. Our differences united by our singular goal to improve our lives. After that success, I also tried joining some other groups, but alas, some people were just ships passing through the night. I always lose someone at this point of the year. But you don't really lose people. Either you grow or they grow. And sometimes you just don't grow together. At the end of it all, we're all just water, passing through each other, and maybe the best we can do is just be as kind as we can towards each other, and even more so to ourselves. The thing about heartbreak is you don't just mourn the loss of the person, you also mourn the loss of the person you were when you were with them. And unfortunately, you can't go back to the person you were before. But when doors close, others open. Initially, I wanted to stop wearing my heart on my sleeve because, well, it was broken. But I'm glad I didn't because it has led me to the relationships I have now. Routine and relationships that help you grow does wonders for the soul. A friend of mine commented on how he observed that the people I surround myself with, friends, partners, clients, are all people who push me to reach greater heights. Things I never even thought of doing, but they see the potential in me that I don't. And they not only encourage me to go for it, but they guide me as well. There are times I feel like I don't belong anywhere, but I know I'll find my tribe. I was going through a lot emotionally, but I had a lot of wins too. I reached my annual financial goal for the whole year in June, in the middle of the year, which is great. I made a deposit for a condo, I bought stocks, which might not be a lot for most people, but I am proud of myself. I used to dare not dream, but it was all within my grasp after all. A big lesson for me this year was to forgive myself. Here's a diary entry from October 23. It's almost the end of October and I am really just trying to be more forgiving to myself. For delaying the things I said I'd do before October ends. A lot of things have happened between relationships I realize I have to be less engaged with. I cannot have it all. I have to give up some things in order to gain some things. We plan life and we are so unkind to ourselves when we don't get what we said we would. But none of life is ever going to go the way we want it to happen. We just have to trust the process. It's not about the goals and the planning. It's about adaptation and growth. Embracing change instead of trying to hold yourself to past ideas of you, because you know more now than you did before. We have to evolve with the changes, fall in love with fate. Amor fati. After all, destiny is just the embodiment of the soul's desire to grow. There are years that ask questions and there are years that answer. For me, 2021 was an answer. An answer to what my limits were. An answer to what I was willing to suffer for. And an answer on what to love, which is fate, just so we're clear. But even with that epiphany, or as I like to call them, stepiphany, the end of 2021 wasn't as hopeful as 2020. Because the last week was just really fucking depressing. But one thing I know is that I'll get through this. Because I've done it before, and I can do it again, and again, and again. No season lasts forever because all of life is a cycle of planting, reaping, resting, and renewal. Sound turns into music because of repetition. I used to say, tell me it gets better. But I don't think life ever gets better. I think we're the ones who get better. Better at living, better at being human. Whatever it is, I'll leave that to 2022.
Yeah?
Okay.
Click lang. Click lang madami. Click lang madami.